Oh, hey.
Oh,
We're
are we live?
here. Yeah, we're live. We act surprised every time we do this.
Well, I don't know. You're the one that knows, and then I always
Yeah,
get a, oh hey, and I go, oh.
Yeah, I mean, you're the only one that knows. So for Alan and I, it is a surprise.
Is it weird that it's a Sunday for you guys?
Devin, I mean.
No, I mean, yesterday was Saturday, so it being Sunday today. Oh, you mean for the podcast?
Oh, but yeah, that it's not the actual day because it's normal.
I mean, I'm on like 5 shows, so I usually end up recording on a Sunday anyway. So,
Ryan, is this good? Are you missing some football?
No, football's over. Super Bowl happened. No more football until next season.
The real football.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're living in. Don't do that to me. Yeah, no, I'm not missing anything today. All of my teams played yesterday.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And my stuff doesn't come on until tonight. Like, all I've got is the new season of The Blacklist on NBC.
Wait, that's still going? The Blacklist?
Yeah, their final season premieres tonight.
Is it still James Spader?
Oh yeah, he's about the only person left from the original cast. So
is it fun?
I'm enjoying. I just want to see how they end it at this point. Like I'm 9 seasons in. Like I want to see them stick the ending. So
that's fair.
Yeah, but let's get right into it because we've
ready.
got some stuff to talk about. Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And today we're talking about Ryan's pick for the week, which is the 2013 film Warm Bodies. But before we get into that, we like to start off the show by talking about things we've seen in pop culture over the last week, just to try to encourage the guys to branch out and watch more stuff, do more things. Devin didn't watch anything, but he's got some fun stuff to talk about. So we're going to start off the segment this week with Ryan, because Ryan's going to do a lot of the talking, I feel, later on when we talk about Warm Bodies. So Ryan, what did you watch this week?
So I watched Megan, the 2022 film about the murderous robot doll. I really wasn't expecting much from it, and it delivered quite heavily. I love stories about and that kind of push the whole like dangers of AI, like artificial intelligence going awry, becoming more advanced than what we need it to be, and the dangers of that. And this movie is that to a T. So it drove home a narrative that I love to see. And even though, yes, it's a little silly at first, the actress that portrays Megan does an excellent job, and it comes off more creepy than silly.
Okay.
I mean, it does from what I've seen of the trailers, it does a really good job of really nailing that like uncanny valley. Like, it doesn't quite look like a human, but it does. It doesn't quite move like a human, but it does. Like, it seems like it hits that really well. Am I right?
Well, yeah, because the actress they got to play Megan, I think she's like 8 or 9 years old, or 10, or I don't.
There's something about creepy kids that
somewhere between the age of 9 and 12. She's somewhere in their age, age-wise, but she's a professional dancer.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff in here when it comes to movement that like is really good. And Peacock has it available on just with normal, with just the standard subscription. And there's a rated and an unrated version. We watched the unrated version, which I think adds like 2 more gory scenes to the film, and like that's it. But I told my wife after watching it, if they were going to like reboot Chucky or like redo the whole Chucky storyline, instead of just redoing Chucky again, this should have been it. Because I feel like this is a successful modern telling of the whole Chucky narrative.
So
Okay.
I told you earlier I went really Devin with this. That was it. I was like, well, it's just Chucky, but it's a girl doll this time. Is that accurate? Like, should I just shut up and watch it?
I mean, it's different. it's different. Like Chucky was possessed by like a serial killer or something along those lines. This is total like AI programming gone wrong.
Okay.
Like this is good. Like I'll fully admit I'm a complete fan of this movie.
Isn't that what they did in the Chucky reboot like 3 years ago though? Is like AI gone bad?
They kind of did it, but it wasn't like it. This is where this movie is a good example and why I gave my opinion about how like this is how it should have been done. If you're going to reboot something or redo something, don't just do a carbon copy of like the same characters redoing the same beats in like a modern world. Like take the idea, stick to that idea, but make it its own thing, change the story up so it's a little bit different. Like keep, like this keeps that same thing. Like it's a kid's toy, it goes wrong. The difference is that the doll's not possessed. It's complete, the doll's not possessed. It's, a moralistic tale of, like AI engineering. And the doll is a prototype. It's not even for sale yet.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Small soldiers.
Yeah, small soldiers.
But yeah, but don't just write this one off.
No, I'm not. No,
I'm being completely serious. Like, don't just write this one off. Like, it's actually really good. Like, there are some scenes that are actually like excellent in this.
That is, I mean, that's very cool, and I actually really want to watch this now because all it really needed was like one good review for me. And I know that you've been on this horror movie kick that I love because it means you're like discerning about your horror.
I maybe I'll check this out at some point. You're probably gonna have to make me watch it for the show though.
Yeah, no.
But this fits. This fits into. I started a list on Letterboxd of movies whose titles were used too soon in a franchise, like Bad Boys for Life, which is Bad Boys 3, but now they're making a fourth one and can't call it Bad Boys for Life. This is one of them because M. Threegan, like it's the first movie. Save that for the third one.
No, it makes sense when you watch the movie.
Okay.
Still, the title. They shouldn't have a thing if it's the first one. Like on the poster, it looks fine, but in text, like on IMDb, it's M3GAN. Which is
it really is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So that's why I called it M3GAN.
The difference here is that your opinion makes perfect sense if you haven't seen the movie yet, and I would probably be on your edge of the fence if I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah,
but I have, and it makes sense for the film, so I'm not on that side of the fence right now.
I don't care how much you're defending it.
I don't care. M3GAN's not a name.
M3GAN's not a name, which is why they call her Megan.
Yes, but that's not how it's spelled.
Yeah.
All right.
You're a millennial. You should be able to read letters and words.
Oh, I can. I can, but it's still not a name. Like Devin's sister is not named M3GAN. Like it's. All right, cool. So I saw this is on Peacock. I might check it out if it's up my wife's alley. I don't know. We're gonna be watching. I know after this we're gonna be watching. We're behind on Poker Face, so we're gonna be watching that on Peacock. So I'm sure I'll get commercials for, and she'll probably be like, "Oh yeah, I'd watch that." So
I can't wait for your review.
But Devin, you didn't watch anything, but you were traveling up until this morning. You want to tell us a little bit about where you were?
I went to Turin in Italy. Mostly I went there to go see a band who had a song in a movie we covered most recently. The band is called Måneskin. They did, was it If I Can Dream?
Yeah.
They did If I Can Dream in the Elvis movie. And I went to go see them in concert. They were spectacular, but the part that's most relevant to the podcast is they have the best museum I've ever been to. It is the Museum of Cinema History. And it is the coolest freaking museum. So I think the picture that you have up right now of this is La Guerra Stellari or something like that. It's their version of the Star Wars poster. And like Leia is weirdly buff. Like Luke Skywalker is wearing an outfit he never wears. Chewie's got a shotgun.
Luke Skywalker looks more like He-Man here than anything else. I'm gonna blow it up so we can see it.
It's just so that part was part of an exhibit of just movie posters, and it was focused specifically on the art of movie posters. So they had like Casablanca. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Speaking my language.
It was this like amazing portrait gallery, and then like they had so many cool exhibits. They had a whole exhibit literally on scripts. So they had the original script of Godfather 2. They had the original script of Citizen Kane with Orson Welles' notes like in the margins. They had Alfred Hitchcock's copy of the Psycho script. Like amazing stuff in this museum that like is just randomly in this city in Italy. They also had, and this is a picture that you'll have, they had the test mold for the cowl for Batman. They had the test mold for the makeup for Catwoman. And then an on-set used prop from Richard Donner's Superman of like the Superman cape, which was phenomenal. And it was just a lot of like, you could tell they really love movies and they really love the history of movies. I mean, the whole first exhibit that you have to walk through was how we went from like literally like cave paintings to shadow puppets to what we consider a movie. And then it had individual rooms for separate genres of movies. It was unlike anything I think I've ever seen before. They had a whole room for cartoons, which I think is another picture that you have up for this. And it just, it was just, I mean, it's in this spectacular building, and it kept making the list of like some of the top things to do in Turin. And I've been to like movie museums before, and I think specifically the movie museum in the Hollywood Casino.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was expecting. So I was blown away when it wasn't that. So
because if I remember correctly, they have a Superman suit and a bat cowl.
Yep.
And a Catwoman thing, but not like the actual molds for them, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. That is very cool. See, I really like that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, guys, when are we all going to Turin next?
I need to get my passport here soon, so I don't know.
You don't have a passport yet?
No.
I'll get a passport. Ryan, when are you coming?
It all depends on when Toronto plays there.
Okay, so tomorrow?
I don't know. I gotta look it up.
Tomorrow. Either way, this museum was fantastic. I hope you guys get to go sometime in your lives. It's amazing. Yeah. I had an absolute, and it's one of those places that like you go and you're like, I need to watch more movies. I love this. Like it really focuses on the art of it and like amazing.
If only you had a podcast where you watched movies every week.
Oh, just you wait. I have because of this museum. I have thoughts today.
All right. Do you have any? Did the museum inspire you to put any picks on your list for the show?
Oh yeah, there's a lot that you guys are gonna watch. There's a Jennifer Connelly movie that I didn't even know existed that we're gonna watch now.
Okay, I forgot to ask you what your pick is for next week. So
don't worry, it's not the Jennifer Connelly movie.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So I finally saw a thing, and we're gonna talk a bit about it. I finally saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Oh yes.
So we talked a bit about this last week, but there's some stuff I want to talk about. For my full thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, check out my new show over on Victims and Villains called Brilliant But Lazy, where Josh Howell and I talk about, we did a whole episode on Ant-Man and deep dived into everything. We're not going to do that here. I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It's not the best MCU movie, but it's fun. It's what I expect from an Ant-Man movie, and there were actual stakes here. So it was an improvement on some of the other Ant-Man stuff. But there's something I wanted, like something we didn't talk about on the show last week that I want to talk about today, because Marvel has started to use it in its marketing, and I feel like that gives me free reign to talk about it on the internet. And Devin knows what I'm about to talk about, but Ryan doesn't. But I'm sending Ryan the official poster from Disney now.
It's this reaction that I care about.
Yes. We're going to talk a bit about MODOK. So that
Oh.
Devin's reaction right now is me every time MODOK showed up on the screen. Both times I watched this movie.
Okay.
Because
now that I'm unfrozen, I'm actually going to look at the poster now.
Okay. Yeah, look at the poster. So yeah, MODOK is in this movie.
Oh my god.
So let me explain what you're seeing, Ryan. That is the bad guy from Ant-Man 1 who gets shrunk down into the quantum realm and becomes MODOK.
And some parts of him shrink at different rates than other parts of him, if you can't tell.
I can't.
So here's my thought on MODOK.
I can't.
Okay. Well, here, let me put it this way. There's no better way to do MODOK in live action. If they're going to do MODOK, it's going to look ridiculous no matter what you do. This is the best way they could have done it. And like if you should put this character in an Avengers movie going up against Thor and Captain America, it wouldn't work. You need Ant-Man to be there to be like, Darren? Like, it's the only way this could have worked.
And I mean, he's played for laughs appropriately so.
He is, because it's ridiculous, and it's supposed to be. My wife was of the opinion that he should have just left the mask on to keep him intimidating. I was like,
no.
But it's an Ant-Man movie. Like, he doesn't need to be intimidating. He's not Darth Vader. He's MODOK. Like, MODOK is just like, they had a whole comedy series on Hulu about MODOK. Like, of course it's going to be ridiculous. Like,
voiced by Patton
like
Oswalt.
The plankton from SpongeBob. He's like the plankton from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Ryan, does this make you want to watch this movie knowing that it's now a direct sequel to the first one? It follows your favorite villain?
I wouldn't say he's my favorite villain. I am happy that it's a direct sequel from the first one. That makes me more interested.
Yes.
That poster, on the other hand, makes me want to sign into a mental asylum.
To be fair, the whole movie's kind of like that. Like that's pretty representative of the movie. Like that little grin, that like mix of colors in the background. You're not far off from the movie.
In the chat, we have somebody asking, want to know what that goo is in Ant-Man? Super creepy, deep cut Disney Easter egg. Sure. If you're still there, tell us what this stuff is.
Yeah, tell me. I mean, that is way more than anything I knew.
Overall, I enjoyed Ant-Man. I saw it twice, so that says something. The last Marvel movie I saw more than once in the theaters was Spider-Man: No Way Home. So, which I ended up seeing like 4 times, I think. So
one for each Peter, and then one for.
Are we not gonna talk about how we saw Captain Marvel twice in the same day?
No, we're not gonna talk about that.
That's a shame. That's a good movie.
Have
we soured on that movie? Did people sour on that?
I haven't. And guess what? People can just say that it's because of my 90s nostalgia. And you know what? I don't care.
Well, hold on. Ryan, did you watch any of Loki?
You mean the show? Yeah.
Yeah. Would you care at all that the bad guy in the show is the bad guy in this, and they're now tying Loki into the broader MCU stuff?
I figured that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, it just took a really long time.
Yeah.
I think COVID made it a really long time.
That's, you know what? Totally fair. Totally fair. Did we figure out what the goo was, Alan?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I await with bated breath. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Sorry, chat. Sometimes you're a gem.
Yeah. But yeah. So moving on. Let's talk about today's main topic, the 2013 film Warm Bodies. Ryan, you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. So, Warm Bodies, the movie, which is based off Warm Bodies, the book, which I will get to a little bit later on as to why I'll never read the book. So let's just talk about the movie for now, and then everything about the book will make sense and why I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
So, my first time seeing this was with my wife. It was available on streaming on like Netflix or one of the streaming services. And I remember really liking it. At the time, zombies were kind of the thing. I know around 2013, a lot of people were kind of souring on the idea of zombie films because it'd been around for like 6-7 years at that point, like straight. But I enjoyed it. We never really watched it again. I watched it for the first time in like 7 years on like on like Wednesday, and I had totally forgotten how much I actually didn't just like this movie, but loved this movie.
Oh wow.
For a lot of different reasons. But not but. That's my experience. Was with it. That's why I first saw it. That's how I feel about it, just in summary. So, you guys, have you seen it before? Did you know about it prior? How was your first time watching it?
I remember when this movie came out and the like posters and marketing were active during, like, I went to see something and there was posters and stuff for this. And I just remember my wife looking at me and saying, "That looks dumb." And then I was like, "Yeah, it's a zombie rom-com. Can't be that much to it." And I didn't watch it until you made me. So I have thoughts. I'm surprised to know this was based off of a book.
Yeah.
How many pages was the book? Was it like 5? Like,
I have no idea. I'll put it to you this way. I looked up what the differences were. I Googled, the differences between the film and the book, and I came across an article from MTV when this movie came out that was listing the 10 big differences between the film and the movie, and I got to and after reading the first big difference, I walked over to my wife and said, "Hey, do I know one of the main differences between the book and the film?" And I read it, and she looked at me and she said, "That is absolutely horrible."
Weird. Okay.
I'm looking it up now. All right, Devin, what do you think?
Hold on, I want you all to know that a novel is generally considered to be about 50,000 words. It's 200 pages. This novel is 244 pages long. Someone just squeaked by in not being a short story. So well done, Warm Bodies. Yeah, so my reaction was kind of the same to Alan's. I get really dismissive of movies really quickly, as evidenced by me with the Megan thing. Just go, well, it's just Chucky again.
Yeah.
With this one, I went, all right, it's a zombie rom-com. In the end, love is going to turn him human. And I think I know what the movie's going to be about, so I'm good. And just kind of like wrote it off like that. So I like, it's always kind of been in the back of my mind is that like, we could be watching worse movies. We could be watching the zombie rom-com.
Yeah.
And now I watched it for the first time. So know that I went into this with rock bottom expectations.
Well, it really sounds like both of you did, which I mean, I honestly don't blame you. On the surface, this seems like a complete wash of like, it's a silly teenage zombie comedy romance thing. And as far as I'm concerned, as soon as the movie starts, it hooks me because I like zombie stuff. I'm a big fan. And what this movie does is it plays with the whole narrative of like, well, what if you could think clearly as a zombie, but you had no control to actually like emote any of your emotions or thoughts, and you were stuck in this like corpse, which is what is what the survivors call the zombies in the movie. And it plays heavily, and it plays with that really, really heavily. Like I really enjoy the entire opening sequence of this film, like the world building in this, of showing you, like how the zombies work in this world. And like, there's a quote to where there's the inner monologue going on at the beginning. The main character, the zombie, is introducing himself, and he even says, "Why am I so weird? I can't communicate with anyone else. Why can't anyone else do what I can do?" And he doesn't know that because they can't communicate with each other, which is great. So some things I want to touch on is just the play of the zombie narrative in this film, and how they take like the normal zombie movie narrative and kind of and they have fun with it in the film. The music, which is, I'm concerned, this is one of my favorite soundtracks. And the relationship itself, because I'm still trying to debate in my head if this is a Stockholm Syndrome movie or not.
I have a thought.
I'm sure you do. And so yeah, so do you guys want to go over like, because as far as I'm concerned, like prior to having this movie picked, this was not even in like my top 25 favorite movies list. When it comes to favorite zombie movies, this was in like the lower 10s, if not maybe lower 15 favorite. And then rom-coms, the same thing. Now, after watching it for this week, it's definitely in the lower end of rom-coms and zombie movies, like 8 and 7, like somewhere in that range. It's still not one of my favorite movies, like maybe like top 25, top 30. Like it's not in that listing, but it's definitely a lot higher than it was before.
So specific. I'm so proud of you, Ryan.
I had a lot of time. I did a lot of notes on this one. I watched it 3 times this week because I wanted to make sure that I got the names of the songs right. So what's your guys' general feeling on this?
Alan, you started with how you like your history. You want to start with how you feel about it?
If I watched this more than once, I would probably turn into a zombie because it's so dumb to me. Like, I do appreciate the world building in it. I like what they do with the zombie stuff, but the whole time I'm just like, I look at it as a Stockholm syndrome type thing, and it's like, oh yeah, they're star-crossed like lovers for some reason, and like it took until now for me to realize that they're doing a Romeo and Juliet thing. I'm like, oh man, it's like, oh.
The balcony scene didn't make that apparent for you.
I was so checked out of this by that point. I was like, in hindsight, yeah, like I shouldn't have watched this at the end of a Friday night, just like after the long week. But yeah, no, I'm picking up on it now, and like it felt so weird that she falls for him so easily when he can hardly communicate with her, and like, I get that he starts communicating more and more, but it just felt so phony to me. And I like the actors in this. I like Nicholas Hoult and I like Teresa Palmer. I have a Teresa Palmer story later.
What?
Yeah. But it just felt so forced for me, and and I don't know how I feel about you eat the zombie's brain, you eat the person's brain, and then you get their memories. Because that kind of took me out of it, because he's not in love with her. The boyfriend whose brain he just ate is in love with her. So he's just picking up on that. So it's not even like his feelings are genuine to start off with. And I
want to explore that at some point.
Yeah.
No, Devin, we're definitely going to, because
good.
Alan, I totally expected you to have kind of this reaction to this movie, to be perfectly honest. Yeah.
And one last thing I'll say about my opinion, like, I'm just so over the zombie thing. Like, this was at the beginning of the market becoming oversaturated with everything zombies.
Yeah, that's true.
Because this was like one of the first movies after The Walking Dead made it big, like to be out, like you can't be, for zombie comedy, it doesn't get better than Zombieland for me. And compared to Zombieland, like I had no sympathy for any of these characters at all. Like I wasn't invested, and the film never got me invested. But yeah, those are my thoughts. We'll dive into them more.
Oh wow. So I just to hop into mine quick. So I was a bit like Alan, where like I'm over zombies. Like, I used to really like them as like a genre thing, and then like the market became saturated. Like, I stopped caring about The Walking Dead around the same time, and I was like, okay, zombies are over. I gotta be honest, this is the best version of this movie they could have ever done. Look, if you're gonna give me a zombie rom-com, this is the movie. Like, you couldn't have done it any better. Like, and that's not like a knock against the movie, it's for the movie. Like, I was with you, Ryan, where like the second they started it and he had his internal monologue going, and you can tell that like all of these little zombies, or every zombie that he passed, each has their own kind of internal history going. I thought that was very cool. And I liked that a lot. I also like firmly landed on the yes, I do like the zombies eat the brains for the memories thing, because they're so internally inconsistent with like what the zombies do to you. Because like the classic zombie thing is like, they're eating his entrails. But like if all zombies want is brains, why are they bothering with that? And like now it like at least this movie attempts to go like, no, there's a reason they went for the brain. It's this is why they do it. And like that's cool. I think that's really cool. And then still not having seen many rom-coms, like it didn't feel overly cliched to me. Like it just felt it felt like a rom-com. Like, and I'm now more comfortable with rom-coms because I watched a few of them now. It's not a weird genre for me. I liked it. I mean, it's not my favorite movie, but I came into it with rock bottom expectations, and it more than exceeded my expectations, is what I'll say.
Good. I was hoping the fact that the trouble in the relationship, and this happens within like the first 10 minutes of the movie, so I don't really consider it spoilers. This movie came out 10 years ago. I don't really consider anything spoilers at this point, to be honest. The fact that the crux in the relationship, or the wrench in the gears, is the fact that he ate her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And Devin, if I remember correctly, the whole rom-com thing is that you always felt that the trouble in the relationship was just something superficial in rom-coms. That it was just something silly, and both characters were like overreacting to something that they could have just sat down and talked out, and they would have been fine. And I feel like this kind of ups that stake a little bit. Be like, yeah, no, this wasn't him forgetting her. Like this wasn't him forgetting their anniversary. He ate her boyfriend.
Arguably, she underreacted to it.
Oh yeah, no, she definitely underreacted to it. Definitely.
Well, she had a line where she was like something like, "I'm glad he's gone. I'm not sad that he's gone," or something like that.
Yeah.
So, this whole aspect of the story is the same problem I have with the Chris Pratt Jennifer Lawrence movie Passengers. Like,
okay.
Have you guys seen that?
I stayed away from that movie.
Okay. He does something very similar to where she should never forgive him for what he does, but she ends up forgiving him, and it's like, why? Like, that's a dumb choice. Like, it's just a bad decision, and I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, I don't care. Like, you do you, but I'm like, I'm checked out. Like,
I don't think it took me out of the movie. I won't say that it took me out of the movie, but I will say that like I don't think that the movie showed enough background in their relationship for me to believe that she was checked out of that relationship. Like they saw that there were tensions, and that like, he was like, he threw himself into her dad, and she didn't like what her dad was doing, and he was very much into that. And like that seems like tension, but that doesn't seem like a deal breaker in a relationship. Like Romana and I like bicker about some things sometimes, but I don't wish a zombie ate her, and I would be like, I'm glad she's dead because she agreed with my dad.
Well, the way that I took that was they showed that there were some tensions.
Yeah.
But they showed a tension that for a lot of people can be a deal breaker.
That's fair.
She does not get along with her father, and her boyfriend is starting to act like her dad and like defend him, and that's where she's like, no, because I mean she says, you're acting like my father, and he's like, good, that's a good thing. She's like, no, it's not. Yeah. It's not a good thing. And then I believe she says like, she's not. That statement she makes towards the end, she clarifies that it's not that her feelings are gone or that she's not upset that he's dead. It's that because they've been surrounded by death their whole life, that she was kind of expecting something like that to happen.
That I can get on board with. Like that, I can see as, okay, like being more accepting of death in a world like that. Like that I get as a character trait. But when a guy tells you, oh yeah, I'm the one who ate your boyfriend's brains. Yeah, no.
You should feel a little bit. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, no, I got you. I got you. So to get away from so we have three kind of different opinions here.
Okay.
So to kind of quickly go through, at the beginning, they're at the airport. They show him. They go through his monologue about how he's living. Then they go to the lead actress in this, and just how like the humans are dealing with everything. They meet at a lab. Zombies are hunting to eat. They're hunting for medical supplies. He then kidnaps the girl, the lead actress, back to his home in an airplane at the airport, and decides to communicate through music, which I absolutely love that whole aspect of this. But this is where the whole thing with, like, if the feelings for her are genuine or not, I don't believe it's love at first sight for him, but he definitely has a reaction to her, because even before he kills and eats her boyfriend, he has a reaction to her.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
They do they do the slow-mo like gunshot scene.
They do this. They do that scene with "I'm Missing You" by John White, which I feel which reminds me of Wayne's World, where Wayne sees his girlfriend for the first time, and it's and they play the song Dreamcatcher, even though she's playing like an 80s
Dreamweaver
metal song. Dreamweaver, thank you.
Yes.
Dreamweaver, not Dreamcatcher. I mean, are they kind of the same thing?
No.
Maybe. No. Okay. We'll just keep on going then. But and then she eventually gets him to get them to leave the airport. She finds out that he ate her boyfriend. They go their separate ways. R finds out that all of his zombie friends are changing like he is, and that the skeleton zombies, bonies, are chasing them because of this whole thing, which is kind of silly. And humans, zombies unite, and zombies become cured. That's basically what this movie is. So Devin, you were right. Like you had this down. It's love, and it's not just romantic love. It's family love. It's friendship love. It's all of that stuff that gets their hearts beating.
I like that aspect of it. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. So
guys, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for how we live our lives without the fragile human contact that we were all missing.
Metaphor or not, I have logistical questions about what their life looks like afterwards. Because
I wonder
if there's no blood flow for zombies, I would assume things just shrivel up.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so on top of that, when they show R cleaning himself, when he wanders his way into the settlement to re-find Julie, they show him during an 80s music montage. They show him taking a shower, and he has bullet holes. Like, he legit has bullet holes in his body. So on top of, Alan, what you brought up, what happens to these zombies that have been shot 5 or 6 times in the chest?
Yeah.
Does the tissue and wounds heal so that everything goes back to how it was before? Because, I mean, there are creatures out there, water bears, for example, that can shrivel up really, really, really tiny, but one drop of water and poof, they're back to their normal shape and size again. So, I mean,
Trinky dinks. We've all played with them as kids. I get it.
The way that I took this, something like that.
The way that I took this, and this is super nerdy me, so hold on for a sec. There's a book that I love by an author I love. It's called Elantris, and the point of it is that it's essentially a zombies book, but not really a zombies book. And the way that they frame it is that the people that turn into the zombies, or the whatever they call them, the Elantarians or whatever, is that they're frozen between 2 heartbeats, essentially. And that, any pain that they feel sticks with them essentially until the next heartbeat happens. And that's kind of how I took these zombies, is they're essentially frozen from the time that their heart stopped when they were bitten or turned or whatever. And then when their heart started back up, their body started the healing process, and things essentially got moving like they were when the first heartbeat stopped. Their body was in this stasis.
Yeah.
So going off of that,
Hmm.
then if at the beginning of the movie R is a
Hmm.
blank slate, doesn't have any memories, doesn't know who he was in his previous life,
Hmm.
if his heart starts beating again, does all
Hmm.
of that come back too, or is he just a new person?
Well, it's strange because it doesn't seem like he really. It seems like it's a choice that R is making at the end, right? To
Almost. Yeah,
to
because I mean,
become a new person or not.
yeah, because I mean, Julie would not ask him the question at the end, "Do you have any memories coming back of your past life?" And he says no. One, well, I mean, there are two things that could have happened there. One, during a conversation, R told her that like he doesn't remember anything and that he wants to, or two, other zombies are coming back and they're remembering their past lives. Some are,
Mm.
some aren't. It might be, like a head injury deal. I mean, he did fall from like a 10-story, 15-story height and bashed his head.
Or third option, he is remembering what his past was, and it wasn't great, and he doesn't want to tell her. So
And he does, yeah.
he just says no. It's not who he is at this point.
Yeah, I used to be a hamster smuggler.
I
I don't want to do that.
I
He
got
used to
warm
be
fuzzies with that one.
he used to be a warm fuzzy. He was an X-Man.
He was, wasn't he?
He was
Yeah, he
Beast.
was.
Oh, I knew I saw him somewhere before. There's a couple people in this movie. So it's him, the main lady, and then the main lady's friend. I feel like I've seen before.
She was the daughter in Crazy Stupid Love.
Was she?
Yes, she's
Okay,
the
got it.
babysitter
Yep.
who like has a thing for Steve Carell. Um,
Ah,
can we talk about Teresa Palmer for a second? Because I've got a story.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I
sure.
want to hear.
She was also in it came out before this, the comedy Take Me Home Tonight with Topher Grace and Anna Faris and Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
And they did a screening of that movie in State College when I was there at Penn State. And Topher Grace and Teresa Palmer came out and presented the movie.
Whoa.
So I've been in the same room as her. I remember the Q&A was fun. Like they both were happy to be there. And I think there was like an after party thing that they went to like a nightclub, but I was like a poor college student and wasn't 21 at the time, so I wasn't able to go. But yeah, so I've seen her do they at the time she was lined up to be in Mad Max, so people were asking her about that, and as far as I can tell she wasn't actually ever in Mad Max. But yeah, they tried like her career is weird because she was in a lot of things around that time, including this, and then she's done a lot smaller things since.
Maybe this movie did it to her. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's cool though.
That is very cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So one of the points that I still have is that I love the humor when it comes to like making fun of the zombies. And granted, it's kind of still the same humor as like Shaun of the Dead kind of did some of these same bits. But I kind of like the setup in this movie more than some of the bits in Shaun of the Dead. And
Okay.
one of them is when he's telling when R, the main zombie, is telling Julie to like act dead because they're by the plane. He puts his zombie bile on her face to like hide her scent. And she sticks her arm straight out with one crooked and starts to like snarl. And he just stops and goes, down, like tone it down, like less dead, like because she's doing it too much. And then there's a line too where she's eating in the plane and there's a running joke where he's like, don't act creepy, don't act creepy, don't act creepy, but he's a zombie and can't help but to be creepy. And he kind of wanders off and gets her like a Corona from the food cart from the plane. And he's trying to remember his name or something along those lines, and he's thinking to himself, this date's not going well, I'm going to die all over again. Like stuff like that it's moments like that, and they happen a lot, as to why I really like the humor and the writing of this movie. Did you guys have any moments like that you thought like a certain gag or line for like the whole zombie narrative thing was decent?
For me, it was a sight gag in the beginning. He was shambling through the airport, and there was like a evolution of man chart
Mm-hmm.
that he like shuffles his way past. I thought that was very clever. I liked that one a lot. It made me chuckle a bit. And then there was, I liked him driving the car, or like learning to drive the car. And she's like, "Look, you're using 2 feet. Pick one. Use one." I don't know. There was a couple of good like decent like one-liners in this one that I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah. Okay.
You took mine with the car.
Ah.
He asked for one example, and you gave him two, and you stole mine.
Look, I didn't follow directions. I'm sorry.
As many as you can think of. It's fine.
I like the scene where he's just sitting at the bar or at the counter with Rob Corddry's zombie, and they like, don't really talk, but they have a conversation and then just go their separate ways.
Yeah, no, that and no, you were right the first time. That is an airport bar, and one of my favorite tiny little quick gags in this movie, because they do it a lot, is when they have their conversation and then eventually R says like Hungary, and then he says it back, and then R leaves, and then his buddy lifts his hand like he's calling the bartender for a receipt, and then he stops, and then he gets up and walks away. There are movies, one that I can remember at the moment is Land of the Dead, where they deep dive into what happens to zombies after they've been zombified for like years. And these are the zombies that don't just decay. Like, these are zombies that just walk around forever. They don't just decay like in 28 weeks later or 28 days later. They legitly they have a lifespan. These zombies don't. And they show zombies in these movies going back to their daily routine, and it shows that like they go into their working routine. Like in this one, you have the TSA agent. Well, actually, the Canadian TSA agent, since this movie takes place in Montreal, technically.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, where he's standing there waving the hand scanner as zombies walk through. He just waves the hand scanner back and forth.
Of course, Canadian zombies are going to be polite.
Look, I mean, but that's kind of the deal with the zombies, though. Like, that's the appeal of them. That's why, like, 2013 to 2016, Devin loved zombies because, like, we're the zombies, man. Like, you get it? Like, we're eating the brains, like the intellectual ideas of the other people that are doing the work, and like it's us just going through our boring routines. Like, we're it. That's why I like that's why I like them so much. And like, sure, they got overplayed, but like, to me, that's still kind of the appeal. Like, as a bloke who works a 9 to 5, like, I am the zombie.
I mean, the sad thing is, if we were to get zombified and it'd be a few years, you'd probably find my zombie trying to open up a lottery machine to fix it, because that's my job. Like, you'd probably just see me walking into a lottery machine over and over again, trying to grab the door and open it. That's because that's what I'd be doing.
Right, or like Tuesday nights, my zombie self would like set up like this exact setup with my mic and my ring light every Tuesday night at 11 o'clock, and we'd just be sitting here having that same nonverbal conversation that everyone is, because this is just what we're used to.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, I don't know, I haven't run into that line in thinking recently, and it's a little bit nostalgic to go back to. You know what I mean?
It
like,
is.
It was a bit comfy seeing a zombie again.
Yeah,
Did you not? It doesn't sound like Alan had that, though. Was it not like cool to be like, zombies?
I don't care about zombies. Like, the draw for me for stuff like The Last of Us isn't the zombies. Like, it's the characters, and I could not get it. I could not care about these characters at all. Like, when one of them's a zombie and you're just getting his inner monologue the whole time, it's like, okay, like, still don't care. But like, I could not get invested in these characters. But the other moment that I thought of just now was when she's pretending to walk like a zombie, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Like, that's not like, that's the other moment that stood out to me. But yeah, the zombies don't do it for me. I don't think they ever have, and I think it's all friend of the show Chad's fault. So
friend of the show Chad.
I've told the story about Left 4 Dead, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Which
You got stuck
made
playing
me-
it all day.
Sorry.
Made me feel bad sending a
Yeah.
song to you guys of that.
But that was hysterical. I
song.
love that.
I didn't listen to it. I was at the movies, so
It's an amazing song called "Regarding Your Brains," and basically all it is a zombie trying to negotiate via office jargon somebody to eat his brains. Get out of his. Yeah, it's and it just, gosh, drop office jargon in non-office places, and I love it.
all right.
So, one of the last things I want to bring up about this movie, because it's one of the reasons why I think I played it 3 times this week, is the music itself.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of movies using contemporary music and non-contemporary music in the movie itself to send messages and to convey meaning, regardless if that meaning has to do with the actual meaning of the song or the it could just be the song title. Case in point, the song "Patience" from Guns N' Roses. He puts that song on right before or during the time period where she has to wait in the plane for a few days. And it's like, you've got to be patient here. And he puts on a song called "Patience" from Good Guns N' Roses. The song itself is conveying like a romance feel, which fits for being, a rom-com. But I like that song title wise for what's going on in the film. Another example is "Missing You" by John White. The lyrics specifically that are playing when everything slows down, when she's firing the shotgun and he sees her, is and there's a message that I'm sending out, like a telegraph to your soul. If I can't bridge this distance, stop this heartbreak overload. The song is about a guy who's trying to convince himself that he doesn't miss his ex, but he does.
Aww.
So that's the reason for the song. But the fact that he's a zombie and he's attracted to her and he wants to communicate how he feels about her, but he can't because he's a zombie, fits those words for what it is. And I love the mix. You've got everything from Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, Chad Valley, which is like an electro artist, Delta Spring, which is more indie, and then M38, which again is more of like the electro techno stuff. This is the music that I like. And so like when I hear this stuff in on film, like it makes me more intrigued in it. And 2013, I think I connected with the main zombie character in this. Mainly it was just being like, I was 23, so I was in my late 20s. And
23 is your late.
No. I said 23 instead of 13. It was 2013.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why I said 23. It was 2013. I would have been in my late 20s or early 30s. I can't do the math right now. It doesn't matter. And I just... At that time, the whole like feeling lost thing that he opens up with, like he's just wandering around feeling lost. Like I was working for Walmart at that time as a department manager. I didn't really know exactly where my life was going, so I really kind of connected with that on more of a deeper level than I probably should have. But I did.
That's probably why I couldn't get into it. It just gave me flashbacks to those days. But if I had seen this movie then, maybe I would have identified with him more.
Well, so I gotta ask. So Ryan, you brought up the songs. What was your favorite music moment? Because I did have a fun music moment in this.
My favorite music moment is when I looked up the song title. That's the only reason why I'm saying the full name and artist and song titles, because I looked it up and I was able to find it. Shell Suit. Which again, he's a zombie. It's a shell suit. He can't really communicate how he's feeling and everything. By Chad Valley. It's when they're driving the BMW for the first time.
Oh, got it.
And you get that like electro beat to it. A lot of it has to do with they picked songs that had good intros to those songs or good just music moments in the songs themselves that fitted the feeling of the scene that they were doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 4 others here that I can pick from, but I'm just going to go with that one.
Alan, was there any good music moment for you in this?
I feel like there was, but I'm blanking on it.
I wonder if ours would have been the same. So mine was Rock You Like a Hurricane. When it was like it was kind of aping the standard, like, here come the good guys walking in a straight line, and it's just like group of like slowly shambling zombies. Like, and
I did like that.
it,
Yeah.
it almost had like a Marvel comedy, like a Marvel like punchline feel to it, where like Marvel's done almost the same thing with Deadpool, where like Deadpool had this slowly walking towards the camera and so I forgot the guns, and had to run back to the taxi. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was a good moment.
Another, I think more moment you're looking for, Devin, is "Hungry Heart" by Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
It was during that montage. One, Hungry Heart, he's a zombie. He eats hearts. There's that thing. But it's also just that montage itself.
You also don't hear Springsteen in movies too often. Like, I feel like the rights for that are expensive because he's the boss. But no, I did like that moment too, because it made me think about when I saw Springsteen in concert, and I was like, I wonder if I could find a bootleg of that concert, like just revisit that whole experience. Yeah. Any other final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. I liked it.
I was.
That's good. Going into this, I knew. I mean, there are certain rules that follow for the podcast here, and there are rules, and we don't make these up. These are just things that have come apparent between all of us as we've been doing the show. One of Alan's rules is anything zombie, and do not expect him to say anything overtly positive about the film. There's one.
That's one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one. Always expect Devin to get a genre type wrong at some point.
That's fair. That's also very fair.
You got regardless of from now to the end of time, you get every genre pairing right. The fact that you had us watch Marriage Story for a rom-com episode, that card got welded into place.
Or just the fact that you thought Being the Ricardos was a documentary.
Hey, like an actual true documentary. In what decade did you think I Love Lucy was on TV?
Oh my gosh, I thought it was on was it like the 70s? I thought it was.
You thought it was the 1930s.
This is the 30s.
You thought it was the 30s.
Listen. I didn't learn. When is it actually on?
It was like
the 50s.
The 50s. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Still, that hasn't solidified itself.
The whole thing's about McCarthyism. Like, how do you not figure out that's the 50s?
You like the show The Blacklist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that happened around the same time, too. I'm not sure what the TV show does with the Blacklist, but that was
different
the true
list.
Blacklist.
It's a different list.
It's a different list.
All right.
Yeah, and my thing is I'm just an average Joe that likes to be entertained, and that's really just it.
Yeah.
So Devin, what are you bringing to the table next week?
Oh, I love that you phrased it that way, because next week we're going to do the 2022 Ralph Fiennes autobiography or biopic, The Menu.
Oh my God, yes.
The Voldemort origin story.
The Voldemort origin story. Yeah.
Yes,
that's what we're doing. Yeah.
We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go.
So,
with 4 Golden Globes.
I did not know that was your pick, so I'm very glad with that setup.
This is wonderful.
I've been holding off on watching this movie because I know one of you was going to put it on the list. So
yeah.
Perfect.
I'm so happy that's the next one.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that. We're talking about, what is it called?
The Menu.
The Menu. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say The Chef, but no, The Menu. So
honestly, that would have been a good title for it too.
Yeah, but then people get it confused with the Jon Favreau Chef, and
yeah,
I can guarantee the food from that's better.
I don't know about that. Wait till you see the movie.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Next week's gonna end with you and me trying food from each movie. Like, I'll make the pork from Chef. You can make something from.
I'm not making anything. You know how I am with cooking. That's not happening.
You can make the bread from this movie.
Yeah, you can. Oh, I can make the bread from this movie.
You should.
Yep. All right. So tune in next week for when the guys make me watch The Menu for the first time, because evidently I'm the only one who hasn't seen it. And I'm still working on what my next pick's going to be, because I know my second to next pick because of how it works out. But stay tuned for that. So in the meantime, you can listen to You Have to Watch This podcast on all major podcasting platforms. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We can watch not only this episode, but older episodes of the show as well. You can visit our website rumrunners.podcastnetwork.com/ You Have to Watch This pod to find our Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all of that stuff's right there. Listen to all of our episodes. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. And until next time for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
I got nothing.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm just realizing that I never talked about the fact that there's baseball in this movie, and like that's one of those things.
That's a shame because we just ended the show. So,
well, I mean, I was trying to go for that whole ending thing. I'm still recording here, so it's still there.
Yeah, but I edit, so the show.
That's fine.
We ended the show. What do you want to say about baseball?
Fine.
What do you want to say? Just say it. Just say it.
No, it's a statement. I usually say stuff about it, and I didn't this time, even though there's a baseball stadium in it. That's it.
Yeah, okay. I thought there was more to it than there's a baseball stadium.
No, it's that. It's that.
Okay, let's try this again.
And that's our ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ending. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Play ball.
Guys, we nailed it.